Hello everyone, Tony's here. Sorry, I've been quiet for a while. I've been working on this software non-stop for this update. I'm very excited about this update. This is quite a big milestone for me. This is the whole new branding of the Forex sentiment software, which is now called Flux Terminal. Why that? I will explain it later on. I'm just briefly gonna talk about it, and then in the next videos, hopefully soon when I finalize everything, I will make detailed recordings and explain everything. So starting from the settings tab, which is your configuration tab, now you have the options to select between the pairs, which pair you want to select to get new data or fetch some, because in the past I had some feedbacks that some of the users do not want to have all the pairs updated all the time. So now you can select between, so basically you have 33 Forex cross pairs, so you can select between major pairs or minor pairs, or if you want to only gold, basically you can deselect all and select manually which pair you want to select and fetch new data. On top in here you have 1 week data, 2 weeks, 3 week, 1 month and 3 month worth of data. I suggest that ideally to keep it on 1 month, and then you can fetch data. You do this once, you don't have to do every day. But then once you update this one, at the bottom you have the auto update. You have to select the same categories or the same pairs you select here in the auto update as well. And then you select your preferred timeframes from 1 minute to 1 hour to update and fetch new data based on the selected intervals here. So once you update it, it automatically saves all the data within your database, which will be saved locally in your device. This is a lot faster compared to the previous one. Now I have enhanced my API data fetch, which is super fast. Basically all the 33 pairs will be updated within 10 seconds, I reckon, if you have a good connections. And then at the bottom you have the CFTC download, where you can download the latest one, or you can download the range. And you have an options to select a 1 month range, 3 months, for 5 months, 1 year, or 2 years data. I suggest 1 year data is perfect for this software. At the bottom, just some status about the terminal. So we have the retail sentiment tab, which is now a complete new one. So we have three main charts: volume order book, pending orders, and trade charts. Once you open it, if it's day trading, the tab will be active, but today is weekends, so market is closed. I'm going to update this at the bottom now. It says London and New York are open, which is wrong. Today is 18th of April, Saturday, market is closed. So basically, when the market is open, the tab is active. You see live data, but for now, since the market is closed, I'm selecting yesterday. So once you select yesterday, you get the table at the bottom updated, and the pending orders as well, and the trade chart. But we only selected the range. So you have two options to select the pairs from, here or at the bottom, because this is a lot easier. Once you change the pair here from the pair selector, the table will be updated. The volume order book, the pending orders, and the trade chart all within seconds. This was one of my main issues in the previous version, because it was very slow. But now, if you look at it, it takes probably like 4 seconds, and it will update the whole the three main charts and the table at the bottom. The pending orders, when you look at the weekly view, now is super fast, within a few seconds. That's the previous week, and that's the current week data. And at the bottom, you have the time frames to select to filter your table at the bottom. This is the same as the previous data were available in the data table. Just like the long and short percentage, the volumes, the contracts. The only thing is new in this table is the long and short contract changes, because sometimes the volumes don't give you anything, but when you look at the contract's giving you a clue what is changing. So just like this is the perfect example in here. So if you look at this, there's no change in the volume, but the contracts are changing, and then this will be there will be further explanation for how to use this later on. The same thing for the trade chart. The trade chart is going to be updated as well. So if you look at it, this is a big change in here, which was really difficult previously, especially loading the whole week data on the pending orders chart. Excuse me. In the previous version, the pending orders chart was a weekly view chart. So the reason I call it pending order charts, because the price is moving between the long and short contracts where they have been opened. And this is the trade charts. So the biggest change, the other big change is in the CFTC or COT data. So let me tell you this: you've been looking at CFTC or COT data wrong for your whole life. With the Flux terminal, it's made it a lot easier and super fast. The level of the expertise and analysis has been done in this software, has not been done anywhere else. I promise you that. So I'll go briefly. So there is three main categories groups available on CFTC data. Those are legacy, disaggregated, and trading financial markets. Who are the legacy groups? Are commercial and non-commercials, and the disaggregated are asset managers, and we have the dealers who are in the markets as a trading financial markets. So in this terminal, they're all available, same as the previous one, but in a better shape, in a lot advanced way. So there are a total of 451 contracts coming up from the CFTC website, and every single contract or instrument have been categorized based on their group, related group, like agriculture, or we have carbon and environment instruments, contracts, and we have the crude oils, Brent, WTI, the Gulf, or we have the crypto. If you want to trade crypto, or look at the cryptos for Avalanche, for Shiba, for Dogecoin, Bitcoin, XRP, and all the other available contracts or instruments on CFTC website. And we have all the major currency pairs here, and then equity indices, which is really important to looking at. And as we all know, S&P 500 is the very famous one, E-mini S&P, and Bloomberg's commodity is one of the very important indices to look at, which unfortunately most of the people are ignoring it. But not anymore with the Flux terminal. Yeah, we have the metals, gold, aluminium, copper, and we have the natural, the NGLs, and the petrochemical contracts, and the natural gas as well. We should not be forgetting about some others. Contracts available on the CFTC, like Bloomberg HY credit futures, the goals, what all this tells you. I know you might feel like overwhelmed already. No, don't be overwhelmed, because once I show you the positioning cockpit and the contract deep dives, this will all be a lot easier than looking at those numbers on an Excel spreadsheet. let me tell you this, my friend. If you have been looking at COT data on an Excel spreadsheet, you've been doing it wrong for your whole life. I was doing it wrong, but not anymore. So this is the Flux terminal is a game changer. And then how about the bonds? Do you usually looking at the bonds? I know some people just saying, "Oh, COT data is a weak lag." No, is a weak lag. Yes, I agree with you, but it still gives you a great insight about the market. The bonds are very important. What the Fed funds doing in there? How the 7-year bonds and or the 10 years or the 2 years and 5 years is changing. So this is all the contracts. You can explore all the available contracts within the terminal, which all been perfectly categorized and sorted for you. The second one, the second tab under the analytics, which is the CFTC or COT data, I'll say, where we have the market inflows, the market plus. I'm sorry about that. So the market plus, what is it? It summarizes the whole market, the whole 451 contracts for you to tell you which group is doing what, where is the biggest position is coming in this week, or how they're changing over the last week and over the last 4 weeks as well. So the conviction matrix at the bottom here is measuring the momentum of over 4 weeks compared with the open interest. Most of the people ignored open interest numbers in this COT analysis. So how you can use them? They can be used to tell me which pair or which contract is in its equation zone, or which one is in the building longs or distribution risk. Yeah, so all this has been done in here perfectly and nicely, where where I will be explaining how to check this later. But if you have used it before, or you know some about it, so you know where I'm talking about it here, yeah. And then below that, we have some actionable signals. We didn't have any signals, but now look, we have signals this week because I just updated the CFTC data, where it summarizes the data, the signals. It summarized the best contracts that there was a big movement between within the 4 weeks of data, and it returns signals for you based on the CFTC engine analysis in the Flux terminal. So for this week, that tells us sequence watch are the following pairs, and we have the distribution risk on these ones. We don't have any real accumulation instruments. And then we have weekly flow leaderboards, where it tells you the biggest buyers, where the biggest buyers were in this week's data, and where we have the biggest sellers in this week's data compared to the previous week. Yeah. So there's an options where you can click from here. Any of this, I don't want to click anything from here because it jumps from another tabs. I will be sharing that later. But let's just move on to the next tab, the best and the most important detailed CFTC contract analysis tab. So once you click it, it's empty by default. You have a search contract bar on here on top, so you can basically just type any words. Let's say just type euro, and it brings you all the related euro contracts. We want to look at euro FX and Euro FX versus British pound rates, yeah, or versus Japanese yen. Let's look at euro. Once you click at the euro, the tab will be updated for the latest data in your database, which will update it. At the top, we have some historical percentage rankings gears, which gives you a quick insight about where the speculators are positioning their contracts, or how the commercials are positioning their contracts, and then what the open interest of this week looks like, and the asset manager's net. So before going further down deep, so I forgot to mention this. Once you click euro, or you select any other contract in here, what the software does, the terminal search for euro within all the available groups in here, because we don't only have euro positions or contracts in legacy, or let's say commercial or not commercials. That's what you heard before, but get used to these names because these are the real names. So there are other positions, all the traders in the markets, in the trading financial markets, both in futures and combines, that they also place their positions on euro. So the software looks for any selected contracts within all the groups. If there is more than a traders within more than a group, it analyzes all the groups for you. So in this case, for EuroFX, we have legacy, who are commercials and non-commercials. So non-commercials are speculators, and the commercials are commercials. So, and then at the bottom, we have another group which are trading also on euro, which is trading financial market. Who are they? You can read it here as asset managers, dealers, leverage fund, and the open interest, how it works. So a quick brief of the tab, where you have the gears at the top, the weekly change, where the weekly change matrix. It shows you over the 13 weeks period of time what the heat map looks like, and then the is groups breakdown for the net positions, commercials, and speculators, and what the open interest trend looks like, which is important also. This is where we have the positionings breakdown for the group, and we have 13 weeks worth of data to look at. You don't need to look at more than that, trust me. What is the benefit of having having 100,000 rows of data, or let's say 10 years of data of the CFTC data? We don't actually need them. 13 weeks is more than enough, because we know that the CFTC data is updating every week. So it's a weekly bias rather than a long-term or 10 years or 15 years bias. No, we don't need that. So 13 weeks worth of data is way enough to look at. That's it. You don't have to overwhelm yourself by looking at the 10 years old data. It doesn't give you any insight. Yeah. So the same thing for the second group is also at the bottom. The overall positionings of the traders in that group, the net positions, the breakdowns, and the 13 weeks worth of historical data. Okay, I know you've been looking at COT data on an ugly Excel spreadsheet, just giving you some numbers and putting some random formattings on the columns to give you kind of like aggressiveness or who's doing what. No, that's not the real way of doing it. The real way of doing it, when you select any contract, is here. So you have to think of, like, when I'm selecting gold, okay, what other contracts within all these contracts are affecting gold? Do you think all these contracts are here just for no reason? No. There are a lot of other contracts that are affecting gold as well. Sometimes we don't see any changes within the gold contract over the week, but then we see a big sudden change in a move in price in gold. Why? Because there are other contracts or instruments are related to gold, have significant movement that are affecting gold as well. So that's where we need to look at all the other contracts. It's not easy to look within 451 contracts. I know that's where the flux internal in the that's excuse me. I'm very excited about my terminal. That's where the flux terminals comes in and does the work for you within seconds with this beautiful small button you have here or here, which I call it macro analysis, because this is where the actual macro analysis is coming in to run and select and do the analysis of any selected contracts within the whole 451 contracts of the CFTC data, yeah, or the COT data. So you have two options, as I said: run the macro analysis or run the full analysis. They're both doing the same thing. I might just remove this one, so it's not gonna confuse you. So let's do it. So just one click, you get this summary. I think I need to adjust this because so this is okay. For now I cannot adjust the size. I'm gonna fix this later, but for now let's just have a look at it as this. So what do you have? So the macro analysis is doing all the works for you if you don't know how to read all these numbers and these figures. So it gives you a whole summary, an advanced summary of the pair you just selected. We selected gold and we run the macro analysis. Yeah. So it gives you a verdict at the top. What is this? It's just the narratives of what is going on gold. So the narratives tells you everything, how it's changed over the week and over the 4 weeks period, and what the longs and short positions looks like, how the open interest trend is working, and then it gives you it returns a key signal of what we're looking at this week. Yeah. And the evidence here, the evidence is looking at each requirements has been requested by the terminal to run through all the 451 contracts to find the related instruments to see how the others are affecting gold. Okay, so, and then we have the positions by report. So as I said earlier, when you select any contract, the terminal looks for the selected contract within the rest of the groups. So now for gold, we have, if you remember, for euro, we had legacy and TFF, which were traded in financial markets. But for gold, we have legacy, who are, as I said earlier, speculators or non-commercials and commercials, and we have disaggregated, who are the asset managers in the market. Yeah. So it gives you the summary of both groups, of their positions on gold for that week, and then at the bottom, I'm afraid if I can't see the whole. No, that's fine. So at the bottom, this is where we have the cross market flow. Yeah. So I think do this. But I have here, I can export this. So you have an export option, so you can export and save. So for the sake of explanation, I'm just gonna open the image, so you can see what the whole macro analysis looks like, because now I have this bugs. I need to fix this auto size. Yeah, the adjusting this auto size. So where were we? Let's go looking at 100%. So bigger. Oops. Excuse me. Yeah. So what we have at the bottom, so explain at the top, and then we have the cross market flow. But the cross market flow, as I said, we use selected gold. We selected gold here to run the macro analysis across the 451 contracts. So it looks for all this other instruments that are affecting gold on that week. So within the rates, we have the macro 10 years yield. The yields of the 10 years yield is affecting gold. Yes, if you didn't know that, now you know it. Silver is also affecting gold. US dollar index is also affecting gold. EBD S&P 500 also affecting gold. Euro is also affecting gold, if you didn't know that. Platinum is also affecting gold. Copper is also affecting gold. Copper, sorry. Not Cooper. Cooper's my mate. Copper is also affecting gold. Bitcoin is also affecting gold. Yes, that might sound weird to you, but it's affecting gold. And then what it gives you, the positionings of the institutionals on these instruments and how they're affecting gold, and then it summarizes for at the bottom execution contents. That it gives you the macro divergence, the macro confirmations. We have 7, and then the rail saw, the continuations or weak score. So all these that will be explained in detail later on. I'm not going to share going in more details. But this is the real macro analysis on CFTC data that you have never seen it before, or no one has done it. I've done it. I've done it for you. Within a minute, within a second, you can just click it and runs the whole analysis for you, rather than just looking at an Excel spreadsheet and you get lost between the numbers. So you have a simple, a small export button in here, or a close button. I'm going to close this one for now because we've done this. And last but not least, we have something new, which is called Flow Terminal. What's Flow Terminal? Flow Terminal is the live combined analysis between the retail traders' positions and the institutionals for the forex pairs, metals, indices, energies, cryptos, and the rates. So basically, we have the heat map in here, and the next one is the position matrix. What the position matrix looks like. We have the instrument, and then we have the speculators net positions change over the week over week. The flex instruments COT index, and then we have the Z score. We have the region, which tells you where it's standing, the velocity, the retail long and short positions on that pair, and this one is USD and what is the signal. So all these signals are live and is analyzing both institutionals and retail traders. So the terminal, the engine, looks for when retail traders are trading against them, and then so it gives you a signal. And then we have a deep analysis. The deep analysis is your favorite tab. I reckon you're gonna love it because it tells you to buy or sell. That is what everyone is looking for. So you have an instrument selector within forex pairs, metals, indices, energy, crypto, and the rates. Yeah. So for any instrument within the available instrument selector, once you select it, it updates and looks through the institutional positionings for the USD CAD. So this one is looking when it says USD CAD, Canadian dollar. So it runs the analysis, the same macro analysis that I showed you in the deep dive contract for both the US dollar and Canadian dollar, and returns a real actual institutional position. So it's comparing both, and they're related other instruments that are affecting them. So the macro analysis, and then gives you the overall positionings and with a very clear signal, which tells me they are selling. So this pair is bearish. So anytime the retail traders are going bullish or buying it, I'm selling it. So this is what the other retail contrarian is coming in, is evaluating the retail trader positions for their long and short volumes, and this is very important to looking at. So this one tells you bearish. Why is bearish? Institutionals are selling USD CAD, retail traders are long with 78%. Look at the short and the contract. Short and long accumulations, right? Right? Yeah, what they're doing, they're buying it with 8,000 lots, and then their short positions only they're not selling, they're buying it, and that's what it tells me. The crowded along with 78%, and the overall signal narrative is in here. And you have a very nice and very clean signal on top. And then we have a signal radar. The signal radar, it filters all within all the available instruments in here and returns the best signals. So anything above 50 is very strong and very likely to go in that direction. So you can, when it comes to the signal radar, click in here. It takes you back to the deep analysis, positioning matrix. Click in here, click any pairs, takes you back to the deep analysis. On the heat map, the same thing. If you want to look at Ethereums, takes you to the deep analysis for Ethereums, how the institutionals are placing their positions, and the retail traders, and what is the current direction. Yeah. So the same thing when you go on the contract explorers. So any contract, when you click on anything, let's just say we click on a British pound. So when you click on this one, it takes you directly takes you the contract deep dive tab, where you have the beautiful whole summary of both groups for British pounds, and where you can run your macro analysis. Yeah. And then the positioning cockpit is the same thing. One thing you have, one thing you have to know when you click, and let's say you only click GBP JPY, it takes you to the deep dive analysis. I can do some sort of combining both British pound and Japanese yen here to show, but basically if you want to look at any of them, let's say you want to look at British pound, so you just type in British pound, it shows you British pound and then Japanese yen. Or if we have both, no, we don't have that, so you can basically just type in Japanese yen, and then you're looking at both currencies separately and run the macro. Yep. And the retail trader tab is just talking for itself. It's a lot faster, no more lagging, slow loading, just within 3-4 seconds everything is updated and fully live data. So that's it for this video. I know it's a lot. I've been working on this for 3 months now, but this is the biggest achievement for me. I'm so excited to send it out. Just keep in touch. I will be with you as soon as possible, as soon as I finalize that. The other thing I'll bring in here, which is not here yet, is the news sentiment analysis. I'll bring a perfect sentiment analysis for news as well, because news is also very important. You don't have to jump around 100 URLs, different websites to look at the news, and you don't know what they're telling you. That's something is coming in. I have to bring in as well in the Flux terminal, which is going to be the best ever terminal you have ever seen. Thank you very much. That's all for this video. I'll see you soon. Bye.